Welcome to this Football Manager 2018 experiment where we're going to find out what would happen if Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo were Saudi Arabian. So using the FM18 editor, I have changed the nationality of Lionel Messi from Argentinian to Saudi Arabian, and I've reset all his caps and goals as well. And I've done the same with Cristiano Ronaldo. He's no longer Portuguese, he's Saudi Arabian. The overall aim of this experiment really is to see if Saudi Arabia can win the World Cup with these two legendary players, or will they continue to struggle because the rest of the squad isn't up to their standard. We're going to find out. I'm going to simulate the real 2018 World Cup 5 times on FM18, and we're going to see how Saudi Arabia get on in those 5 simulations, see if they can get past the group stage, maybe go all the way. So just like some of my recent World Cup experiments, we're going to have a little Excel spreadsheet tracking the progression of Saudi Arabia. So whether they get out the groups or fail in the groups, and also the goals and assists from both Messi and Ronaldo. It's a little bit difficult to track average rating unless they finish in sort of the top bracket of players. So that's why I've gone for goals and assists. Ronaldo's more likely to play in a more advanced role as a striker, so we might see Ronaldo get more goals and Messi get more assists. But it's just out of interest to see how they get on at a personal level. So this is the first simulation, and even though Argentina no longer have Lionel Messi, they got to the final, and in dramatic fashion, they lost on penalties to Belgium. What a final this is! It is ridiculous! And bear in mind, there's no Messi in the Argentinian team, so they've done very well to get to the final without him, really. Maybe there's more teamwork as a result. They're not always passing it to Messi because he's not there. They're actually combining a bit better as a squad. However, let's have a look to see how Saudi Arabia got on, because that's the main crux of this. They actually finished Boston. They did get a win. They beat Egypt 2-1, but it wasn't enough to get out of their group. Uruguay with 5 points, Egypt with 4 points ahead of Russia on goal difference. But let's have a look to see how Lionel Messi and Ronaldo got on. Now, the pre-World Cup friendlies for Saudi Arabia on this save is very tricky. We're likely to see losses against Spain and Germany. We did see Ronaldo and Messi score. I'm not going to include these goals on the Excel spreadsheet. It's all about the goals in the World Cup that I'm worried about. And as we can see, Cristiano Ronaldo scored every single goal for Saudi Arabia. Despite a red card, Saudi Arabia did manage to beat Egypt 2-1 in their first group game. Ronaldo with an 8.8 performance and 2 goals, with Messi just playing behind him with a 6.8. It's so strange to see Ronaldo and Messi on the same team, isn't it? Really bizarre. Great win for Saudi Arabia, but unfortunately that was the best we were going to see from them in the World Cup. They lost against a very strong Uruguayan team, Cavani and Suarez with the goals, but Ronaldo did get an equaliser in the 37th minute. Messi once again playing just behind Ronaldo. I mean, it's not quite fair to track the goals. Let's just make that clear. Messi is obviously going to be playing in a more withdrawn role, but he might overall get a better average rating if he can score a few goals and also get a few assists. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case in this particular simulation. 3-0 loss against Russia was poor. That was the chance to win and go through. And if they'd won, they'd have been top of the group. But it was an easy win for Russia in the end. It looks like Ronaldo... Oh, no, he did play. I thought he hadn't played then. Messi got injured. And both of them got injured, in fact. Messi got injured after 7 minutes, so he didn't even pick up a rating in this game. And Ronaldo struggled playing on the left side of midfield. Why did they play this chap up front when Ronaldo was banging in the goals as a striker? Absolutely bizarre from the Spanish manager, Pizzi. Now, if we don't see any success from Saudi Arabia in this experiment, there is the chance perhaps I could take control myself and see how I get on with Saudi Arabia with Messi and Ronaldo. I've got some other experiments planned with Messi and Ronaldo as well, trying them out at other nations, so keep your eyes out for those over the coming days. So just to be clear, this is the tactic Saudi Arabia have been playing. 2 defensive midfielders, Messi, usually with Ronaldo up front, and they're just relying on those two creating and getting the goals. But of course, been pretty poor really from the manager playing Al Mania up front instead of Ronaldo. It's just pretty ridiculous, really. We did see Messi scored for Saudi Arabia. Did he score in the warm-up games then? He must have done. I didn't actually notice that. Oh, yes, of course, because they played Germany and Spain, and Ronaldo scored 1 goal, Messi scored the other. This is the squad. I've got the in-game... People keep asking me, but the reason I can see current ability and potential ability with these experiments is I've installed the in-game editor and allowed the current ability and potential ability to be shown on these filters here. So you can see that the difference in quality is amazing. Messi and Ronaldo, current ability of 195. That's how good they are out of 200. They're the 2 best players on the game, quite clearly. And then there's a huge drop down to 126. These are kind of, I suppose, English championship level footballers, I suppose. So in the second simulation, England beat Belgium in the final on penalties. Very tight game. A couple injuries to Belgium. They weren't particularly lucky on that in that regards. But let's have a look to see how Saudi Arabia got on then. Only 1 point this time around. Had 1-1 draw against Russia. They lost 3-2 against Uruguay and 4-1 against Egypt. Complete thrashing at the hands of Egypt. Let's see how Messi and Ronaldo performed. So 6-0 defeat in the friendlies against Spain, and then a 2-1 defeat against Germany with Ronaldo getting the goals. Messi scored against Egypt in the 4-1 loss. Egypt went down to 10 men late on, but they still managed to get the win. Then this was a cracking game, but unfortunately Saudi Arabia were on the receiving end of a 3-2 defeat with Ronaldo getting both goals. And then Messi scored a penalty against Russia to rescue a point, but it obviously wasn't going to be enough to go through. So disappointment again for Ronaldo and Messi and for Saudi Arabia. This is the tactic. They're playing the same tactic, Messi behind Ronaldo, and they managed to get 2 goals each at this World Cup. So in the third simulation, Colombia won the World Cup, beating Brazil 2-1 after extra time. Excellent stuff from Colombia. But did Saudi Arabia get out of the group? You can see Messi's on the list here of top goal scorers, so possibly there's hope. Let's have a look. No, bottom of the group, but Messi scored 5 goals. They scored 6 and conceded 8. So I think that's the issue. Messi and Ronaldo can get the goals for Saudi Arabia, but their defence is still incredibly leaky, and that's a massive problem. Perhaps with another nation that's a bit more solid in defence, possibly Tunisia or Iran even, someone that's got a bit more of a solid defence, we might have a bit more success. But let's have a look to see the fixtures then. So Messi obviously scored more goals than Ronaldo in this one, but they lost 4-0 in the friendlies against Spain and Germany. 2-2 draw against Egypt, Messi getting both goals, but Egypt came from behind twice. Unlucky against Uruguay as well, 3-2. Messi with a goal, Salim Al-Dasari also with a goal. They went 2-0 up and then they failed. Terrible. And then 2 goals against Russia as well wasn't enough. Once again, Russia coming, just like the Egypt game, they took the lead twice, but Russia came from behind and actually won the game 3-2. Crazy stuff. But they did play Messi up front by the looks of it in this tournament, which is probably why he scored the goals. Ronaldo on the left wing this time around. Interesting that it's different between different simulations. It's not always the same, and they're playing the same tactic, but that's down to the manager, I suppose. But he's decided to put Messi and Ronaldo in different positions on the pitch this time around. So in the fourth simulation, the penultimate simulation of today's experiment, Brazil get revenge, beating Colombia 2-0 in the final. But the key question, how did Saudi Arabia get on? There's no players featured on these player stats lists, so it doesn't bode well. We're going to see Saudi Arabia get out of the group at all. Bottom of the group again. They've got one more attempt to try and go the distance in this World Cup. But once again, a draw against Russia and a 3-1 defeat against Uruguay and a 2-1 defeat against Egypt. It's just not good enough, is it? It's not good enough. And it might be down to the manager, it might be down to the tactics, it might be down to the fact that there's just not good enough players in the rest of the team and they can't just rely on Ronaldo and Messi. Maybe they need to play 4-4-2 with Messi and Ronaldo up front together, or Messi on the right wing or something like that in his more natural inside forward position. But once again, defeats in the friendlies as expected. They've got very tough friendly games, haven't they, in the build-up to the World Cup. Perhaps if I started a fresh save, they'd have an easier friendlies and then perhaps be able to go into the World Cup on a high. But this is the way it is. Ronaldo did score against Egypt in the 2-1 defeat, and then in the 3-1 defeat against Uruguay, Al-Arishi managed to get the goal. And then Ronaldo scored again in the 90th minute to get a first minute goal from Shatov and then a 90th minute goal from Ronaldo. Same tactics, I presume? Yeah. Where's Messi? Why didn't he play? Was he injured? He might have got in. Why is Messi not playing? What's happened here? Has Messi been left out the squad? Am I being blind? Maybe he got injured. Maybe that's the problem with this one. It seems a bit unfair if he did. Yeah, he must have picked up an injury prior to the World Cup, meaning he didn't go. So that obviously was going to be a lot more difficult for them at this World Cup. And in the last simulation, Spain beat Germany on penalties to win the World Cup, but Cristiano Ronaldo was the top goal scorer at the tournament. Amazing, 7 goals. So surely they have qualified from the group in this last simulation. I am going to do a part 2 because I am curious to see if they can go even further. They did top the group. 9 points. They won all 3 games. What's happened here? 2-0 win and 40 wins against Uruguay and Egypt. They scored 10 goals. Exceptional stuff from Saudi Arabia. This is more like it. This is what we want to see. In the second round, though, they happened to take on Morocco, a team that is beatable. They didn't have to take on Spain or Portugal. They took on Morocco and they bottled it. They lost on penalties. But Ronaldo ended up being top goal scorer nonetheless. He scored lots of goals in the group stage. Messi got injured. What is wrong with him? He keeps getting injured. And that might be the issue in this game. Messi went off injured before half time. And then they had to rely on Ronaldo. Ronaldo opened the score in the 15th minute. It was pretty unlucky. They did get 119th minute equaliser in extra time, but it went to penalties. Ronaldo scored his, but the other players let him down. And perhaps if Messi had been on the pitch, he probably would have missed a penalty. He's not the best at penalties, is he? Let's be honest. At the end of the day, by the way, but before anyone comments about Ronaldo's better than Messi, Messi's better than Ronaldo, this isn't what this is about. This is about Ronaldo and Messi combining as a team to try and win the World Cup for Saudi Arabia. It's not Ronaldo versus Messi. I'm just highlighting goals and assists out of interest. But obviously Ronaldo had the better tournament in regards to goals in this tournament. And the better average rating as well. We're not doing average rating, but he obviously played very well overall. Let's just have a quick look to see their tactics then. But it's so disappointing losing against Morocco in the second round. Obviously Morocco are a good team and they would likely beat Saudi Arabia, but I just thought perhaps with Messi and Ronaldo in the attacking midfield role and Ronaldo's the striker, they'd actually be able to beat Morocco, but it wasn't to be in the end. In the group stages, by the way, Messi did score a hat-trick, Ronaldo getting the other against Egypt. Then Ronaldo scored 4 goals against Uruguay. Amazing. And Messi and Ronaldo got a goal each against Russia before Ronaldo did get a goal against Morocco. I am going to do a part 2 to see if Saudi Arabia can get further than the second round. We'll do 5 more simulations in part 2. But at the end of part 1, this is how it went down. So 4th in the group on 4 occasions, but then first in the group all of a sudden, winning every single game, scoring loads of goals, and then knocked out by Morocco. Bit of an anticlimax. But as you can see, Messi got 11 goals in total during the 5 simulations. Bear in mind he was injured for the entirety of the 4th simulation though. Only 1 assist, which I find really strange considering he's playing in that attacking midfield role. But it seems to be, when I've looked, that the wingers are getting the assists rather than Messi. So they need to get Messi more involved, I think, in the play. And they're relying on their wingers getting the assists, and it's not benefiting them really. Ronaldo got 14 goals in total, boosted by the last tournament where he scored 7. Half of them were in the 5th simulation, and then 2 assists, both of them were in the 3rd simulation. So I hope you found this interesting. Please leave a like if you did. There will be a part 2. We're going to see if Saudi Arabia can go further. I am going to do this with a few other nations. I'm going to do Tunisia and probably Australia as well. I'm doing sort of the nations likely to finish 3rd or 4th in their group, and then I might do a one-off video of England, Messi and Ronaldo's English players, we'll see. But until next time, enjoy FM18, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.